So I just thought I'd bring you guys out to one of my favorite places right now. This is my first real garden, and it's not perfect, but I'm pretty proud with it. I'm pretty pleased with it. It brings me so much joy to look at it and, to observe it from my kitchen window. And I absolutely love the growth, and it's very close to how I imagine it. I eventually want to see it just completely overflowing with all kinds of plants and flowers and everything, and it will, year by year, there'll be new things that I will continue to add to it, but for the first year, it's looking pretty good. So I'm going to take you in and show you some of the stuff that's growing in there. So, first of all, we have a lot of marigolds that are just beautiful. First time I've ever grown marigolds, and kind of a funny story how these ones started out. These ones here were actually the first batch that I had purchased, and they were purchased it just before the May long weekend here in Canada, and they were put outside in the garden, but they weren't actually planted into the ground. And we did ended up having a frost, and so all the leaves ended up turning black, and I didn't think they were going to make it, and I was just about ready to pull them out, to be honest with you, and I was going to just toss them. And because that happened, I actually went to a local garden center, and they ended up giving me some more plants to replace those. It wasn't really their fault that it had happened, but I was just chit-chatting with a lady that worked in the greenhouse, and so she said, "Oh, here, take another container." And so those ones there, these two orange plants, they actually they're massive for marigolds as far as I know. I'm not one that's grown them before, but they're quite big and they're beautiful. And this is the same thing. So these two yellow ones, they were part of the same batch, and they ended up also just turning black and almost looked like they were on their very last legs. I think there was like one little green leaf on it, and that was it. And so I was about to toss them, but as it turns out, they have just, they've filled out, and they're absolutely beautiful. So, and again, another two from the ones that they gave as replacement ones, and they're not as big, but they're still beautiful too. So I'll go back over here, and so these are cauliflowers here. Now, about 4 or 5 days ago, there was absolutely nothing in here, and I'm quite surprised to see how quickly they have just gotten really big compared to what they were a few days ago. There was just giant leaves, and there was nothing growing inside of there. And I thought, oh, well, funny story, this garden, when I first planted it, so we're getting quite big. When I first planted this garden, I had a bunch of starts. Actually, I had grown a bunch of stuff from seeds, and we had it inside because we don't yet have a greenhouse. And the stuff that I had started with from seed in the house was growing really well, but by the time I was able to actually bring it out, it had all sort of withered and started to die, so it didn't work out. So we had to go and buy some starts. So I had got some cauliflower starts, some broccoli starts, and some Brussels sprout starts, and I had put them all in the ground, and I had put these little labels on everything, and one of our goats ended up getting into the garden and tearing everything up. The plants were all over the place. The little plastic tag things were all over the place, and so I had to try and figure out where everything was supposed to go, because as a start, Brussels sprouts, broccoli, and cabbage, the leaves all look fairly similar, especially to somebody who's not an experienced gardener. So I had to try and put back everything where I thought it would go, or where it belonged. And so there's been a bit of a mystery surrounding what's growing for the most part. But anyways, it seems like everything has sort of, the cauliflower is all in its place, And I'm still not too sure what these are going to be. Further back there, I'll show you there's some broccoli coming up, and it's really quite nice, and it's quite exciting to see. So these are our potatoes. I am mostly growing those for my daughter because I can't really eat potatoes. I have had type 2 diabetes, and I pretty much have gotten that all but completely reversed. I have got my blood sugars completely normalized for the last, I guess, about 3 months or so, going on 3 months. They've just been really in line, and it's been by me changing to a plant-based diet and by cutting out all of stuff like potatoes and starches and stuff like that. So it's been going really well, but I know as soon as I have potatoes, my blood sugar goes through the roof, so it's not something I can have. Anyways, these are our dill plants, and as you can see, they've gone to flower, and they will go to seed, but that's okay. We will hang that. We'll use the dill, and we'll use the rest for seeds for next year. So, and it smells so incredibly lovely. Like, the dill is just so beautiful, and the rosemary that we've got down here, there's not a ton of it, but there's just enough, and it is absolutely the most incredible smell. It's one of my favorite smells. That and lavender, oh my goodness, I can sit and smell that all day. So carrots are growing really well in here, and we've had a couple that I've pulled up and thinned out, so they're only about this big right now, so they're not very big. I ended up moving them over to this bed because about 2 weeks ago there was absolutely nothing in this bed. Everything that I had planted did nothing, and so as you can see, I had moved them down under there, and I didn't think they would make it anyways because I just had thinned out this bunch. But when I ended up moving them, they ended up taking off, and they've been growing. Like the leaves and stuff and everything look like they're still growing, but we've had this monstrosity take off in here. So and someone may know what this is. I have absolutely no idea what this plant is. It may be a squash. We had planted spaghetti squash, and it would be the first time I've planted it. So we had a bunch of things planted in here though, and again with the goat, everything got moved around. So I don't know if that is in fact what this is, and it may very well be. It tends to want to stay on the ground. I had built this sort of trellis thing thinking it would be something that it would climb up, and I have tried encouraging it to climb up the trellis, but it doesn't. It just wants to spread and go all across the garden bed and whatnot. So we'll see what it turns out to be. If it's spaghetti squash, I'll be certainly very happy because I do love spaghetti squash. So over here, I've got some corn growing. There's a couple of varieties in here, and I don't know, I'm thinking it would probably be our growing season is very short here, so we'll probably be experiencing some frost by the time September rolls around, and maybe the end of September. So I'm hoping we'll have a chance to see the corn develop all the way. And so we've got lettuce. I've got more lettuce than I know what to do with. I kind of run overboard with the lettuce. We've already been picking these, and I've been eating them, and they grow back so fast within a few days. And got some more. These are romaine lettuces, and the centers are still good. Some of the other leaves on the outside I'll have to pluck off, and I'll just give them to our chickens. We had, actually there's a couple here. We had some radishes in here, but the radishes bolted with the big sort of heat wave that we had for several days, and they just bolted and they got really woody. So I actually just found this one when I was doing some weeding earlier today, and it's all woody and stuff. It's not any good. So we've got some red onions in here. They are I don't know, they haven't been doing too well. So these few larger ones here, they were planted back about 6 to 8 weeks ago, and they've come up and then they've sort of just wilted over. So I'm not too sure why that's happening. I do water the garden twice a day, and especially because it's been quite warm. But nonetheless, I actually went back and took the rest of the onion bulbs and I have to put some more in. You can see the little ones starting to come up. I go through a red onion just about every day. I love red onions in my salad, and I absolutely love them. So anyways, we go through a lot of those. I should say I do. My daughter doesn't really like them that much, but she'll tend to pick the onions out, but I guess that's just a kid thing at this point. So cabbages are doing amazing. And this one here is ready to pick, as is probably just about this one. This one I'm going to pick tomorrow morning. It's really hot out here. It's about 30 degrees Celsius. Maybe it's come down a couple of degrees now, but it's a little bit too warm to pick this now. So first thing in the morning when I come out tomorrow to water the garden, I will come and pick that one, and I'll use that tomorrow for a cabbage and cucumber and dill and red onion salad. So that'll be good. Broccoli, we have actually some broccoli heads coming up, so I'm quite impressed to see those. I wasn't expecting those to work out. They were actually, when there were starts that I had planted, and when that goat had gotten in here and eaten some of the stuff, there was nothing but a little nub left, and I thought, oh, I'll just put it back in the ground and see if something happens. So something is definitely happening, and there is some broccoli growing there, so that's good. And we have some purple cabbage here. It was planted quite a bit later than this stuff over here, so it will come along, I guess. And that's good, because if they're spaced out, then I have enough time to eat them. So over here we have tons of snap peas, and these are one of my favorites. I absolutely love snap peas. And they're ready to be picked too. So tomorrow I'll probably be out picking these. And we have another mystery something or other. I had put pole beans in here. I want to say I had put zucchini in here. And without being, I'm a novice gardener. It's just my first time having a real garden. Other than I had a garden once that just had lettuce and stuff in it. So I'm not sure which one is the zucchini here. If the zucchini is taking off, there was pole beans and there was zucchini. So we'll see. I guess it'll be a bit of surprise when it comes. So this is our kale. Kale is doing tremendously. I can't even keep up with the kale production. I think I have to make some more green smoothies. And we've got beets. Oh, so we had beets the other day. I made beet borscht actually, and I used the beets from our garden. In here is some spinach, and it has actually started to bolt, as you can see, but the leaves have been still good, so we've been having some of those. And these beets are ready to harvest too, so that's pretty exciting. I don't know what kind of bug that is. There's a bug over here. I noticed there was some, I don't know what that is. Anyways, I'm gonna stay away from it. We had what was I gonna say? Oh, I forgot. Anyways, more marigolds. They're getting overtaken, of course, by the whatever this plant is. Again, hoping it's a spaghetti squash. So, and it doesn't seem to like to climb. I have put this leaf over here, and it looks like it's just going to probably go back down and carry along the ground. So, and over here, I think, I am not sure. I have a feeling that this is, oh, our dog is after something. I have a feeling that this, I'm not sure. There was Brussels sprouts that were planted in here, and I'm not sure that those have been moved here. And again, I'm not sure what these are, so we'll have to wait and see. It's awfully big leaves and nothing in the middle, so I'm not sure. And here, some beautiful wildflowers. Now, I always laugh when I say wildflowers because they actually came in a package and I threw them in the ground here, but they're very beautiful. And they're just a mix of whatever different things. They're quite nice, and I should probably try and see if I can't save some of the seeds out of that. So, but this is a just absolutely beautiful start to a garden. I can't wait to do it again next year. And yeah, I'd like to add some little solar lights. I actually had solar lights that were going all along the fence here, and it was my absolute favorite thing to look out the window at night when it was getting dark and see the solar lights all light up, and just tiny little fairy lights just like these. And it was just really pretty to look at night. And unfortunately, one of our goats came along and ate the lights, right off the fence, just stood up and was chewing on them. So I guess I didn't actually see it happen, but there was all spots where they were just all chewed on all along the fence there. So they had to be thrown away. And so those are gone. I actually had this little set somewhere that I found the other day, and I didn't think they worked. I was actually about to throw them away, and then I put them up just the other day to see if they would maybe turn on and if they would work, and sure enough they did. So I've got one little set on here, and I'll try to order some more, and we'll put another set on the other side, and then eventually I'd like to get some little stands that come up and have the hanging lights off. It's a garden in progress, and year by year there'll be more things in here. I'll probably put some other smaller beds down the middle here, just little ones in the center, maybe with some more flowers or whatever. But it's so enchanting to look out the window and just see all the growth, and it's really beautiful. We have a hard time keeping up with all the stuff that's in here. But it's just amazing that, everything worked and took off. And the exception of this bed to begin with, there was almost nothing in there again, but some of the seeds just didn't take off, but that's okay. It's being overtaken now with something mystery plant. So anyways, thanks for joining me, and I'll talk to you again soon.